So one question that I often get asked is, sir, which is the best martial art for self-defense? When you talk about self-defense, what you're essentially saying is, if something happens on the street, right, in an unpredictable scenario, what do I do to save myself? Okay, you're not saying how do I become a ninja, how do I become a black belt, how do I become a combat sports athlete. You're talking about survival. Now, when we talk about this, the mistake that I think most people make is they are very biased. So if somebody has a karate background, he'll say karate is the best martial art. If somebody has a BJJ background, he'll say BJJ is the best martial art. If somebody has a boxing background, they'll say boxing. Now that is the problem. That is the problem. Because you're not objectively looking at the situation and thinking about what has to be done. You are first going back to your experiences, your skill sets, and then trying to force them into the situation. Will they work? Of course it will work. Anything is better than nothing, right? Somebody who has no training will obviously get crushed versus somebody who has any training in anything. But if you want to be really, really good at realistic fighting, street fighting, self-defense, then you have to look at what happens in a real fight. Go back to your memories from school, college, or any fight you've ever seen. What were people doing? Were they throwing flying kicks? Were they doing double leg takedowns? What were they doing? They were using their hands. Okay. So that brings us to our first answer, which is boxing is the best martial art. Because in a fight, it's natural for human beings to throw their hands. So get good at throwing your hands. Get good at a basic 1-2 combination. Now, on top of that, once you get good at that, after 3 to 6 months of learning how to throw punches, on top of that, you can add other things. Add elbows, add headbutts, add knee strikes. I call this dirty boxing or Filipino boxing, okay? And finally, I would say the third layer is the mental game. Awareness, fearlessness, confidence, stuff like that. So, when people say, do BJJ for self-defense, it's a little strange for me because while I respect BJJ and it's essential for, becoming an MMA athlete, but on the street, do you really want to go to the ground? The number one rule of street fighting is stay away from the ground. Plus, if I'm on the ground fighting one person and his friend shows up, now my head is going to become a football. His friend is going to football kick me. And also, a lot of submissions stop working the moment somebody is allowed to bite you, eye gouge you, things like that. Remember, on the street, there are no rules, right? So, you should know a little bit of grappling in BJJ. I mean, if you fall down, you should know how to get back up. But I don't think you can look at BJJ and be like, that is the main thing I have to do for self-defense. Similarly, a lot of these Krav Maga guys will show you things like somebody's holding an AK-47. You do a ninja move and that AK-47 goes up in the air, flips around, and now you're holding it. This is very unrealistic. Krav Maga, I personally really like it. Some of the things in Krav Maga are amazing, right? But then it kind of depends on who you're learning it from. And if they're teaching you these unrealistic movie stunts, then you got to be careful because that can actually land you in trouble. So to sum it all up, I'm going to say, don't try and learn something fancy. Don't be allured by this whole, this is the latest martial art, this is the trend, this is what looks cool. Don't think about all of that. Violence is not supposed to look cool. Violence is savage and brutal. Learn how to throw your hands. Join a boxing school. If you have a knockout fight club close to you, there's nothing better than that. We specialize in this. Knockout Fight Club was born to teach the weak person how they can fight. So go to a Knockout Fight Club if you have one close to you, right? If not, join an old school boxing place. Don't join anything else. Learn how to fucking throw your hands. And then later on, someday, whenever you get the opportunity, you can come to me, you can come to any of our centers, and I'll add to that. I'll add to your boxing and we'll make it dirty boxing or Filipino boxing. Once you reach that level where you have boxing but you're adding other tools to it, that's how you become really good at self-defense and street fighting.